So intubation and extubation are high-risk aerosol generating procedures. These processes are therefore facilitated by an expert team led by a team leader with a tightly scripted protocol. And the aim is to minimize droplet and aerosol spread. The team for these intubations consists of 5 people. The team leader leads the whole process in a safe manner, administers drugs, and controls the anaesthetic machine. The airway doctor is a consultant anaesthetist who will fully concentrate on the act of intubation. The airway nurse ensures all equipment is ready and assists the airway doctor. The hot room nurse assists with equipment and contamination avoidance, and the warm room nurse assists with equipment and communications. Let's now look at the layout of the hot room. We have the team leader placed next to the CMAC and will be administering drugs and also controlling the anaesthetic machine. The airway doctor and the airway nurse are in the usual positions with an airway trolley at hand. The hot room nurse provides communication between the team in the hot room and the warm room nurse who is situated in the anaesthetic room. The anaesthetic machine and the airway trolley in the hot room are shown here, and also the lever which controls the common gas outlet. A hot room checklist is shown here, and this is checked with the airway nurse and the hot room nurse prior to the patient arriving. There is a list of airway equipment which is placed onto the steel trolley. There's also other equipment that needs to be in place. The anaesthetic machine is checked and placed on. And all of the drugs needed for the COVID intubation as listed here, and other drugs are as required are also added. It's important to note that getting any other drugs into the room while the patient is in there being intubated is very challenging. This is the warm room checklist, and the airway doctor and warm room nurse go through these pieces of equipment before the patient arrives. The full Morgan trolley and airway trolley are situated here, along with the Ambu A scope and monitor as well. 4 ampules of water are added to the Ambu scope, and they can be used for lubrication. There is a small steel table for which the following objects can be placed: a tube clamp, an inline suction equipment, the D-blade for CMAC, extra eye gels and extra endotracheal tubes. So when the team is brought together in the warm room, the team leader now runs the pre-brief. This is read out by the team leader. The names of the team members are clarified and their roles. The relevant patient clinical information is reviewed and a plan is made. A confirmation that the warm room checklist has been done, and there is also a confirmation that the hot room checklist has also been done. PPE is then donned for each team member and buddy checked. Prior to the patient arriving, goals and safety are reviewed, as well as airway plans and doves, which you'll see shortly. Once this is all done, we're ready to go in. Doves is the procedure that we use for intubation itself. So the person giving the drugs is the team leader, and the drugs given will be fentanyl, an induction agent, and succinylphonium. Once fasciculations are seen, rocuronium is given. The team leader then turns the oxygen off before the mask is removed. The airway doctor is now in control during the intubation phase, and intubation is done using a video laryngoscope, and intubation with a bougie or starlet is preferable. Once intubation has occurred, the cuff is inflated, the circuit connected, and the circuit is then checked. The team leader will then turn the oxygen on, and capnography is confirmed, and the safe circuit is then confirmed. Once the team enter the hot room, the patient is now brought in. The team leader then uses the protocol to describe every element of what happens next, such as can the oxygen cylinder be placed onto the floor at the foot end of the operating table, now transfer the patient to the operating table, and so on. Once this is all done, final checks are done. The team leader reads out through these final checks to ensure that everything has been done prior to intubation. The team leader then reads through the process, talks through the sequence of removing the Hudson mask and applying the face mask, reviews and then runs doves, gives the drugs, controls the oxygen, hands over control to the airway doctor for intubation, resumes control once intubated, and also controls the anaesthetic machine.
Final checks are now complete. Airway doctor holds the Hudson mask. An airway nurse now cut the ties to the surgical mask and the Hudson mask, but leave the Hudson mask in place. I will now instruct you on how to remove the Hudson mask and replace the face mask. The sequence will be, I will turn off and disconnect the O2 tubing. I will then instruct the anaesthetic nurse to remove the Hudson mask and surgical mask and discard into a bin. And I will then instruct the anaesthetic doctor to place the face mask onto the patient's face. The sequence will now begin. O2 is off and disconnected. Anaesthetic nurse remove and discard the Hudson mask. Anaesthetic doctor apply face mask with the V grip. We are now commencing fractionation. I'm going to set the timer for 3 minutes. During this time, we're going to quickly review the key dove steps once again. The sequence will be drugs. I will be giving fentanyl, ketamine, succinylphonium. Fasciculations will be observed and rocuronium will be given. I will then turn off the oxygen by turning the lever of doom and declare oxygen off. Please remember, oxygen off before mask off. I will instruct you to remove the mask, which will be discarded into the bin, leaving the filter on the circuit. I will instruct you to commence video laryngoscopy, and once intubated, the stylet or bougie will be removed. Don't forget to use the gauze, and this will be immediately placed in the bin. The cuff is then immediately inflated with 10 mils of air, and the anaesthetic nurse will announce the cuff is inflated. The anaesthetic doctor will connect the ET tube to the circuit and announce the circuit is connected. Okay, pre-oxygenation is now complete and we'll commence the dove sequence. I'm giving fentanyl, ketamine and succinylphonium. Fasciculations are present. I'm giving rocuronium. I'm now walking to the anaesthetic machine. Please keep your mask in place. Oxygen is off. You may now remove and discard your mask. Commence VL. Anaesthetic doctor, you are now in control until you announce connected circuit or failed intubation.
Cuff up.
Cuffs up.
Dial it out. Circuit. Circuit connected.
Oxygen is on. I'm bagging and looking for capnography. Capnography is observed. Please tie the tubes and apply thick nerves to the eyes.